Christmas Eve and we're in Yellowstone National Park.
We're up here on the terraces at Mammoth. We just drove in from Bozeman this morning and we're going to be here for about 6 more days. This is our first winter trip to Yellowstone. We've been talking about it for a few years. Finally made it. Please bear with us if stopping to narrate and take videos like this gets a little chaotic over the next few days. There's not a whole lot of daylight hours out right now. It's kind of light out about like this from 8 till 4 and a whole lot of darkness. What's on our agenda for today?
Today we're gonna take the snow coach from Mammoth up to Norris Geyser Basin and check that out. I hear it's pretty snowy up there right now, so I bet it's gonna be really pretty.
We're staying tonight in Gardiner and then we're going up to Cooke City for a few days, hoping to see some cool wildlife and enjoy the winter scenery, and then we'll be back here around Gardiner and Mammoth for the end part of the trip here.
Something that looks like a bison boulder, tell me. If you see anything on the left, let me know. This is wolves in our park. 5 of the packs in the interior have mastered the craft of taking down bison. I was with him for 10 years, so it's fine. We'll figure it out. If anybody wants pictures on the snow coach, at the end of the day, you can climb up onto the grill and take pictures on there too. Watching out for the daredevil today. Yeah.
Oh, I see the little bill.
Hang on, I'm just looking out there because I thought I saw something. It can be anywhere from 120 to 100, or they use defecation and they use scent glands. They have a scent gland on the tip of their tail. If I maintain it throughout the afternoon.
Do you pressure wash it for you guys? Or?
No, I'm the pressure washer. Yep. So if you guys want to come down here, Ranger Jim's not here.
Oh, awesome.
This is going to be the entrance. Park. We have geysers, we have hot springs, we have fumaroles, which are steam vents like this. To head down. Oh, we're not open over here. So you can see we do have a lot of ice cover over there, and there is a reason why they shut it down. So I'm going to give you a little. Trudging a boardwalk. We're going to try to make it a little easier for people when they start. Right. I really want you guys to get a steamboat. I actually love it. Okay.
I got that. I realized afterwards what it was.
Yeah, it's actually going to turn out really cool.
Reflected black back to our eyes in the color spectrum. Here in Emerald Spring. Runoff and the steam and the acidity from steamboat. So those trees will be petrified.
Taking a video.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I've got mine, so you can.
Social media platform, unless it's the USGS website. If this place was to erupt right now,
We're in the best place.
we're going to be gone so fast that we're...
Yesterday on our bus, there was one of the really big males.
Amazing experience to encounter them. I've seen the Wapiti pack out here without her pack. So she is one amazing provider.
We are now on the selfie cam in the hot tub at the Ridgeline Hotel in Gardiner. We didn't get a chance to film a whole lot today. The tour to Norris Geyser Basin pretty much occupied the whole day, which was fine. It was a lot of fun. Everyone in our group was really nice. Tour guide was awesome. I really enjoyed stopping off at Swan Lake Flats and getting to see Bunsen Peak when it was still light out. And there were no other groups out there, so it kind of felt like we had the interior part of the park to ourselves. What did you enjoy about today?
I liked getting to see the trail, all of Norris Geyser Basin in the snow. We had a fun time getting down to some of the thermal features with the stairs being snowed on like they were. But I used crampons. They worked great. Getting to see Steamboat Geyser in the snow was really fun, really cool. And then there's a couple places where Mike and I got to kind of hang back away from the group and just be alone, and it was really nice.
Tomorrow we are heading to Cooke City. We'll be there for the next 3 nights. No restaurants or anything are open as far as we know, so we bought groceries and stuff to make hot sandwiches and bagels and all that good fun stuff. And hopefully we'll see something awesome while we're out there. This is going to be the end of day 1. Merry Christmas Eve, friends.
Merry Christmas Eve.
Good morning and Merry Christmas, friends.
Merry Christmas.
It's day 2 of the trip. We had a nice little breakfast at the restaurant here at the Ridgeline Hotel. Yesterday we had a guided tour, so we had a timeline we had to stick to. The next 5 days we're out here, we don't really have a set itinerary. We're just going to try to get up and take advantage of all of the daylight hours and hopefully see some cool stuff throughout the week.
It's a little crazy, the time out here. It gets dark by 4 p.m., so everything we want to do, we kind of have to do pretty early in the day.
Sure.
please?
Yeah, give me just a second here. Let me finish this one up. I'll be glad to. It's currently around 2:30. We've spent Christmas Day just kind of driving around the northern range. At the moment, we're up here on the Blacktail Plateau, and we're about to make our way toward our hotel in Cooke City. It'll probably be dark by the time we get there. This will most likely be the end of what we filmed today. It's been kind of a cloudy and foggy day most of the day. Every now and again we'll see a little bit of sunlight poke through or blue skies through the clouds, but pretty dreary Christmas out here in Yellowstone. Still very beautiful though. Hoping in the next couple days we can get out and be a little bit more active. Can't really do a whole lot of true hiking this time of year, at least not with the gear we have, but there are some shorter trails we may try to check out and a couple of roads that are closed to vehicles but open to foot traffic, so maybe we can make our way up some of those.
The baby bisons are very cute.
Yeah, got to do some pretty good bison watching today. Hopefully we'll see some more exciting stuff tomorrow. This is going to be the end of day number 2. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you tomorrow.
No, Norris doesn't have one. It should be fine. Yeah, they were over there. When you start into the corner, so it's always helpful for you to clean.
A big bull a couple summers ago out at Cascade Lake. Yeah, I was really shocked to see one out there. We've seen them. I've seen them outside.
but they smell our food.
Good morning, day number 3. It's currently around 9:30 and we're here at the Yellowstone River picnic area, and it is snowing. It's been snowing since we left our room in Cooke City around 7 a.m. On the way out this morning, we saw not 1 or 2, but 3 bull mooses
Meese!
hanging out around Soda Butte Creek. They were about 100 yards off the road, and I think I got some pretty good shots of those guys. Stood out there and watched them for close to half an hour until they kind of got back in behind the trees, and it was kind of cold standing out there, but pretty awesome way to start the morning. So we stopped off here at the Yellowstone picnic area to make breakfast and coffee. Driving through, this picnic area is open and the one next to Blacktail Creek is open. Some of the other ones kind of have cones up and are closed off. If I get a chance, I'll kind of try to make note of which ones you can get to this time of year. In the off chance that anybody wants to come out here and be savages like us and cook dinner in the freezing cold. So we're gonna get back in the car and drive around a little bit. Visibility is not really great. It's another foggy day. I would really like to be able to park up by the Tower Ranger Station and walk the road toward Tower Falls, just kind of as far as we want to, and then turn around. We'll see how we feel once we get back in the car and warmed up and everything. Anything you'd like to add about today so far?
It's cold.
It is cold. It's funny, it doesn't look like it would be, but
It's a little chilly. Nothing I'm not used to from good old Michigan.
here is a look around the Lava Creek picnic area, which we use a lot during the summer. You can see about 6 inches of snow on the picnic tables there, but it is accessible. The one by the Yellowstone River Bridge had more tree cover, so there wasn't quite as much snow built up on the tables. Okay, so I was able to walk the road up here to the Calcite Springs overlook. Amber made it about halfway and then decided to turn around, so I'm trying to get lots of photos up here for her. It's absolutely beautiful. And I saw one other gentleman on skis coming up the road, but as of now, I'm the only one here at this overlook, which is pretty incredible. I don't know how well it shows up on video, but here at Rainy Lake, there's these spots where you can see the water bubbling, and it has us wondering if that's thermal activity under the surface. You can see the sun is setting behind us as we speak. This is actually the first time the sun's came out through the clouds today. The second half of our day, once I got back from Calcite Springs overlook, went a little sideways because we had a flat tire on our rental car. I was able to get to the tower service station and get air in it, and it looks like it's holding, but we're gonna try to head straight to Cooke City. There's a service station there, and if it's still low on air in the morning, we'll figure out what to do about it then. This is gonna be the end of day number 3. See you in the morning.
Okay. Okay. Someone who's electively done that shit.
Good afternoon, day number 4. It's actually around 3 p.m. Driving to Livingston to deal with our flat tire issue pretty much took up the whole day. Kind of sucks, but that's the way things go out here sometimes.
For us.
We are currently up here at Wraith Falls. We made the half-mile hike up here. It was pretty much the only thing we were going to have time to do before it got dark on us.
That was a half a mile?
Close to it, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like nothing.
Beautiful hike. We passed a few people on the way up, but there's nobody else up here currently. It's gonna be well past dark by the time we make it back to our hotel in Cooke City. Hopefully tomorrow we can get out and about and do a whole lot more. This is gonna be the end of day number 4. See you in the morning.
Today, I just want you to know that today was so dumb. So dumb. Could have been doing Yellowstone things, but no.
Good morning. This is day number 5. We're here at the Trout Lake trailhead. It's a little over a quarter mile up to the lake, and then once we get up there, we'll decide whether we want to walk the whole loop around the lake or not. Check out this massive fallen tree we've come across. I've never seen anything this big out here. This is like the size of something you'd see out in the Sierra.
This is where I live now. Get out of my house.
This is absolutely stunning. Can't believe I've never made it up here before. I will definitely try to come back on my next summer visit. Currently around noon, and it's been so windy today I haven't really been able to talk a lot. The camera just wouldn't pick up any audio. This morning, one of our favorite breakfast places in Cooke City was open, so we grabbed breakfast to go there, went down to the Soda Butte Cone and ate, and then we made a little hike up to Trout Lake. That was really beautiful. Really want to come back there in the spring or summer sometime. And then I hiked maybe a mile or so of the Lamar River Trail. It got really cold and windy out there too. Overall, we're doing okay, but we're having a little bit of trouble figuring out our layering system. Seems like no matter what we put on when we get out and try to hike around, we're either too hot or too cold. A little bit of a learning process. Still a great day so far. It's currently around 4 p.m. We're right here by the Mammoth Hot Springs Terraces and just spotted a really nice bull elk. Got to watch him for a while.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Anything you'd like to add about today?
Today was great. What was the first hike we did? Trout Lake. That was a good little hike. I liked it.
The hike to Trout Lake was really beautiful. We've got a place in Gardiner we're staying the next couple nights. Tomorrow will be our last full day in the park. and should be another good one. This is going to be the end of day number 5. We'll see you in the morning. Good morning, day 6. It's right around 8 a.m. I drove into the park this morning at first light, kind of cruised around Mammoth, saw some elk and a herd of bison. On the itinerary for today, I know we want to spend some time walking around the terraces at Mammoth, not only because it's close by, but that's an area that we kind of skip over in the summer just because it's so overwhelmingly crowded. There's still people out and about walking, but you can find parking spots, and I think it'll be a little bit more enjoyable for us. Also, I would like to head up to the Blacktail Plateau Trail and hike some of that later today. We'll just have to see how the day unfolds.
Okay, we gotta go down and see that, and then we come back up this way.
All right, guys, it is day 7 and we are here at the Riverside Cottages in Gardiner, heading back to the airport in a little bit. Sorry, yesterday took a turn. There were winter conditions and they actually ended up closing the road between Tower and Mammoth, and we just made it back to Mammoth before they closed it down. There were cars sliding off the side of the road. When we get back home, we will do a full recap of the video. Thanks for hanging in there with us. All right, friends, it is now January 5th. We came back from Yellowstone about a week ago. We're here back home in South Carolina, and this is the first time Amber and I have gotten a chance to sit down and do this. The entire trip was planned kind of last minute. We were actually going to be going to Colorado at the end of September, and Hurricane Helene came through the day we were supposed to fly out, actually. Ended up having to cancel that trip and had an airline credit kind of burning a hole in our pockets, and realized that we could make it to Bozeman for the week of Christmas. We ended up renting an all-wheel drive Subaru Outback from Explore Rentals. That cost us around $1,300. We could have saved about $500 just getting a normal rental car from the airport. I'm glad we went with the all-wheel drive and snow tires though. Most of the trip it wouldn't have made that big a difference, but the couple of days where the snow was really falling down, they actually closed some of the roads. I was very glad that we had that. It also made it a lot easier to navigate pull-offs and parking lots and things like that. We flew into Bozeman, and we spent our first night there in Bozeman at the Comfort Suites. Our next night was at the Ridgeline Hotel in Gardiner. Then we spent 3 nights at the Alpine in Cooke City, and then we're back up to Gardiner and spent our last 2 nights at the Riverside Cottages. Cost-wise, we spent an average of around $120 a night for lodging, which is pretty good. Summer trips to Yellowstone, we're probably closer to $180 a night when we're doing lodging. Did you have a favorite of the places we stayed?
I really liked the Riverside Cottages. Those were really nice. I was super comfortable. The bed was comfortable. You couldn't hear your neighbors. It just had a sense of luxury to it that I like.
I also really enjoyed the Ridgeline Hotel, which was in Gardiner. Much like the namesake, looking off the back of the property, there's an observation deck, and there's this just beautiful ridge line and the Yellowstone River down below. I enjoyed the indoor pool and outdoor hot tub, and I also liked the Yellowstone Mine restaurant was right there on the property. They were actually open for breakfast on Christmas Day, which we weren't expecting anything to be open. So where all did we eat in Gardiner for breakfast?
We went to Eat Cafe. We went to the Yellowstone Mine.
Yeah.
And Cowboy Cafe for breakfast. All 3 of those were open.
Good experiences all around there. Eat Cafe was probably my favorite place we had breakfast.
Eat Cafe was really good. That was also my favorite.
So for dinner in Gardiner, we were able to eat at the Cowboy Cafe, the Wonderland Cafe, and also the Yellowstone Mine. All 3 of those were really good. I think Cowboy Cafe may have been my favorite dinner spot out of the 3.
Cowboy Cafe is definitely my favorite dinner spot. They had an awesome dinner menu, and the food was surprisingly good. Typically around there, you don't expect to get anything like that kind of wows you at all, but that was really good.
Yeah, we never consider Yellowstone a food destination, but it's always a win when you find somewhere to eat that you really enjoy. Mm-hmm. In Cooke City, the only options we had were Cooke City Coffee for breakfast, which is actually one of our favorite places anyways, and the Miners Saloon was open for dinner. We always enjoy eating there as well. Miners Saloon is pizza and bar food, but it's always good. And Cooke City Coffee does awesome breakfast bagels and these little things they have called sausage bombs, which are just amazing.
They're literally the best.
Being that we came in the wintertime and around Christmas, we anticipated restaurants being closed. So while we were in Bozeman, we stocked up on groceries, and we've got a little single burner propane stove that we take with us. So we utilized the picnic areas to make bagels and hot sandwiches and grilled cheeses, coffee, tea, and stuff like that. And then also in our cooler, we packed crackers, Lunchables, potato chips.
Uncrustables.
So the only 2 picnic areas that were open were the Yellowstone River and Lava Creek picnic areas. All the other ones had cones or signs up saying that they were closed. Not a whole lot of people out there cooking on the picnic tables like we were. In fact, nobody else was. But it is an option if you're coming in the winter, and especially if you're anticipating restaurants being closed. And what we found is that nobody was really keeping normal hours like they would the rest of the year, especially around the holidays. And you couldn't go by what was on Google or the internet as far as what was open or closed. We really just had to get in town and start asking around. Overall, I was really just thankful anything was open. We were kind of prepared to go most of the week having to cook meals on the side of the road.
I enjoy cooking out on that little stove anyways, so I really enjoyed that as well, especially with the little things that I did get to make. And we repurposed some things from the night before, so that was, I mean, super easy, really fun, save money.
Wildlife is always a big part of the reason we go to Yellowstone any time of the year. I was really curious to see what it was going to be like during the winter. We saw a lot of bison and a lot of elk. If you know where to look for them at all, that's kind of a given. We had one really big epic moose sighting with the 3 bulls the third day of the trip, I think. We didn't get any on video or have much of a chance to talk about it, but we saw a handful of coyotes.
I was actually really surprised that we were able to see as much as we did see. The coyotes, that was cool to see. I kind of wanted to see wolves, but anytime we saw a lot of people on the side of the road, whether it was wolves or not, we just kind of wanted to keep going. So I guess I didn't want to see it bad enough. I think we got really lucky with those 3 bull moose that we saw. It was really neat.
We had to plan this trip on a little bit of a budget, and if you've looked into going to Yellowstone in the winter, you know that the snow coach tours can get very expensive very quickly. The only one that we did was from Mammoth to Norris Geyser Basin. How'd you feel about our one snow coach tour?
No, it's really worth it. I enjoyed that a lot. My favorite aspect of going to Yellowstone most of the time is the hot springs anyways, so getting to see them in a different atmosphere was actually really nice. A lot of things were different, so it was surprising. And Nicole was our snow coach tour. She did a great job. She was knowledgeable and safe, and the people that were with us, they were awesome. So we had a great time.
This was the first guided tour of any type we've done in Yellowstone. I enjoyed it. It was nice getting to see some of the interior of the park that nobody else outside of our group was seeing at the time. We were the only snow coach driving through that part of the park, and we were the only group at Norris Geyser Basin. It was great to experience part of Yellowstone that's usually overrun with people, and it just be a handful of us out there. Good time overall. One thing we did learn is that on those snow coach tours, they kind of have to keep the entire group together. So if you do one, it's not like they drop you off at the geyser basin and say, hey, be back here in an hour and a half. We're the type that kind of like to be loners and do our own thing and go at our own pace. So that was a little bit of an adjustment. That was still fine. We were able to hike Trout Lake. We did some of the Lamar River Trail. We hiked the road leaving Tower Junction.
You did some of the Lamar River Trail. I went back to the car. Ooh, the wind was crazy that day.
Okay. The road from Tower Junction up toward Tower Falls is open to foot traffic only that time of year, so we hiked some of that. We hiked to Wraith Falls. There is the Frog Rock Trail, which is actually a service road that's closed off to visitors during the summer. And then we also hiked the Upper Terrace Road at Mammoth. We got out and did a fair amount of hiking throughout the week we were there. I kind of thought that after maybe 1 or 2, we'd be done with that for the week. But with the clothing and gear we had, they were actually pretty enjoyable. Let's talk about clothes and layering for a minute, because that was something that we sort of had to figure out as we go. And I think we both kind of overpacked for this trip, anticipating these outrageously cold temperatures.
Yeah, it's kind of cold when I wake up in the morning out there in summer, so I was expecting it to be unbearable. But apparently that doesn't happen until January, February, so we were good. Better be over-prepared.
Daytime temperatures hovered right around 30 degrees on average. It would really sort of fluctuate from 28 to 32 throughout pretty much every day that we were out there. I ended up settling on some ski pants that I had, and also a snowboarding type jacket. That black jacket you'll see me wearing in most of the videos It's a breathable material. It's not waterproof or water resistant. And I initially started with an insulated shirt under that, and that was fine for picnic areas and just getting out to view wildlife and scenery, but it got way too warm when we started moving around. So I ended up just wearing one of my regular sun hoodies, my snow pants, the snowboarding jacket. I had some pretty thin gloves that are almost more like glove liners that were pretty helpful. I brought my down mittens, but I wound up not wearing them the entire trip. And the snow boots and micro spikes were perfectly sufficient for the little hikes that we did. What all did you wear?
I borrowed some stuff from one of my friends, Vicky, and I am so thankful that she let me borrow her things. She had a couple pairs of like snowboarding or ski pants that were great. I would just wear leggings underneath them. And she let me borrow some vintage cuddle duds, which were wonderful. I had a Columbia jacket of hers. I don't know what kind it was, but it worked amazing. I found that if I put my insulated jacket underneath that, it kept me warm while we were standing still, but as far as moving, that was just too much, and I sweat to death in that thing. I had Columbia snow boots. I don't know what kind they were, but they were warm. They kept my feet warm
And dry?
And dry, and I had wool socks.
She had a ski type jacket that actually had the rain shell built in, so she had a little bit more wind protection than I did. I also did have some days where I just hiked in my regular hiking pants with some thermal leggings underneath. That did fine in those temperatures as well. We saw people out in snowshoes that were hiking on the same stuff we were. I feel like for this particular trip, snowshoes would have been overkill for what we were doing. The road plows pretty much run from first light until it gets dark, and they do a great job of keeping them clear. The only day that it got a little sketchy was that day that they wound up closing the road between Tower Junction and Mammoth. And as we were trying to make our way uphill to get back toward Mammoth, when we realized it was coming down pretty good, we saw some other cars getting stuck and sliding off the side of the road and things like that. Glad we did the all-wheel drive, glad we did the snow tires, but overall road conditions weren't as bad as I was worried they would be. Nowhere even close. So you're the cold nature one out of the two of us. How cold were you on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the coldest?
While I was hiking, 2. While I was sitting still, 5. It wasn't terrible. My stuff kept me really warm. I was happy with it.
What were you most nervous about regarding this trip?
I was most nervous about being cold because I am cold right now, and I'm like telling him I'm getting cold. I'm cold right now. I was most nervous about being so cold that I wouldn't be able to do anything. I grew up in Michigan, and where I was from, and with what little knowledge my mother had of cold weather, I didn't have the best snow gear, so I was always the kid that had to go in first and couldn't hang out because I couldn't hang. I just was way too cold, so I was worried about that. Kind of wished that I would have had those things when I was a kid.
The last few years, we've learned so much about outdoor gear and outdoor clothing and ways to do what we enjoy doing and stay comfortable. And we also grew up as kids that played outdoors and didn't have any of those luxuries as children. So it's nice as adults to be able to do things like go out and play in the snow and not just feel cold and wet all day. The only thing I wish we had done different is I wish we'd have taken advantage of the cross-country ski lessons they offer from the Mammoth Hotel. We kind of talked about it a little bit before the trip, and the day that we were up there on the Mammoth Terraces, we saw a group doing the cross-country ski lesson. It looked like a lot of fun, and it's not something you have to book in advance, and it's not a very expensive activity. Being here in the Southeast, we have zero experience with winter sports of any kind, and I wish we had taken the time to do that while we were out there.
I'm excited to try it another time, though, because as a couple, getting to experience new things together is important and a lot of fun. So I think you know, we experienced this together, and then the next time we can learn how to do something together.
So do you think we'll ever go to Yellowstone in the winter again?
Probably, yeah.
I'd definitely like to. So like I said, day one of the trip, recording and narrating and doing video on trips like this can get chaotic sometimes. And the way our trip went, that's exactly what happened. Overall, it was a fantastic experience, though. I'm glad we finally did it. I definitely want to do it again. Once again, if you're still with us, thank you so much for watching. Please take a minute to like, comment, or subscribe. And I tried to cover a lot of what we did in this video and why. But if you have any other questions, feel free to drop me a question. I really enjoy hearing from you all. And thank you again for watching. We will see you next time.